Many people who have been waiting for some kind of movement when it comes to, well, just conditions for the various streets that we have here in East Texas. Emma, who did you talk to and kind of set the baseline for us on the
Okay,
information on what's going on here?
of course. So if you remember back last summer, about summertime, June, July time period, we were talking to some homeowners in Tyler that live on Kid Drive and Downing Street about how flooding is impacting their home. And we've been following the story as the city, excuse me, the Tyler, I'm getting scatterbrained myself. The Tyler City Council has gone through all the steps of approving, okay, we're going to work on them as a part of our structure flooding project. Well, today, this morning, they actually approved a construction contract to start making those updates, adding some more curved inlets, expanding the size of those storm drains to help avoid flooding. Now, Hannah, if you'll go to this next picture, this is an example of what some of that flooding looks like. As you can see in that first one, that's a pickup truck, and that pickup truck is actually parked right in front of a storm drain. So
Oh, wow.
all that water is just rushing right there, and it's undersized. It's not big enough, so it just floods. And the patio in the next picture is actually that same homeowner, and that water is right up to his front door. That's about a foot off the ground as well. And then that next homeowner, that's their backyard. So I was actually able to speak with both of the homeowners today to kind of talk about, the relief that this construction is going to bring them. So let's go ahead and take a look.
We're ecstatic. We can't wait after almost 38 years to not have water coming to the door and having to barricade the doors and get out the shop vacs and all of that stuff. We can't wait. Hopefully, once they get that fixed, we can enjoy another almost 40 years.
Time?
Oh, absolutely. We won't have to be on guard for 3 days when the big storms come. You get a 3 or 4 incher, and then another one follows it within 6 hours. If the drain doesn't work, it doesn't matter. But if we have more outlets for the water to get out, it'll be really nice.
So we've been here since 2020, and we have had flooding in our backyard every single rainy season that we've had. And eventually we have run into issues with our backyard eroding and then collecting more water to the point where the house actually flooded end to end at one point. And so now moving forward, it's just anxiety every time we have a storm, wondering, when the next time the house is going to flood. We finally have hope for the first time that maybe we'll have a real solution, that we can stop worrying about our house, our backyard, our ability to stay here. Also our ability to choose to move if we want to, because that's also been an issue. If we ever wanted to sell the house, would we be able to because of the history?
Just looking at the photos, you had mentioned that some of that water making it all the way to the front door.
Right.
My brain automatically goes to, okay, structural issues.
Right. So Buddy, the first gentleman that we heard from, he's gotten used to it. He's been in the house for 38 years. And funny enough, when I talked to him last summer, he told me that the realtor that sold the home told them there wasn't a history of flooding, which of course he comes around the first rainy season. He's
Right.
happened to experience extreme flooding in his yard. So this project is actually going to start, I don't believe it's going to start in Buddy's yard, but it's going to start in his yard, the woman that we spoke to, Miss Michael, and then their neighbor across the street. So it's going to dig up that strip right there inside that box to add more things to expand the capabilities to get that water out of their yard. So crews have actually already started preparing their homes. They're starting to move air conditioning units out of the way, kind of shifting it out to make room for all these improvements. They've started adding some more structural things to their foundations to make sure their foundations don't crumble as they're digging through their yards. So these homeowners are very, very excited for this. I will say they are a little concerned because spoke with project engineers this morning with the city, and they were saying that there's not an exact start date just yet. There is kind of a time window for this spring to start construction. They're going to be meeting within the next 2 weeks to kind of discuss what their plans are. So there's not a completion date yet, but we'll be following this, and we can of course bring you guys updates. But
Is this something where they're going to have to move out of their homes for them to go through
no.
this?
So like I said, that they're already making way for these improvements to come. They're, like I
Okay.
said, they're moving their air conditioning units, and they are adding structural elements to the home. So they're gonna be able to stay there. Their yards are gonna be a little bit messy, but they're okay with it. So Michael Kimball, the woman that we spoke with, she was saying, she's worried that, if she ever wants to sell her home, she's not going to be able to if because of all the erosion in the backyard, because it has
Yes.
messed up her backyard. She says that you walk out in the back, even if it's not a super rainy or wet season, it's just mush because of how much water has come through. So she is very excited to have this come in, and because she has young kids, she wants her kids to be able to play out in the yard. You can't if it's just cruddy all the time and wet.
And you don't want them in your house.
And you
muddy
don't.
little feet.
I know. Think about little kids running around playing in the mud. Mom, I'm not sure if she has carpet or not. That's
Oh.
that's the real questions I should have been asking her. Kids dragging mud through, but they're really eager because this has been an insane problem for them for years.
And I'm sure a few months of you know, ugly in the front
Ugly
yard, in the
having to
backyard.
sit through construction crews digging in your yard, it would be so worth it. But he did say he was a little disappointed. They're going to have to remove a couple of trees from his yard, but it's going to be worth
Well,
it in the
after
end.
30 years, I'm sure he's very tied to those trees.
He is tied. He says him and his wife have already gone through the stages of grief for the trees. A couple of bushes as well. I think one of those big bushes y'all saw in that video is going to have to go because they're going to have to dig all that area up. But they're overall excited.
Good to hear it. And
Yes.
good. I'm sure after 30 years, he's ecstatic
Yes.
for some change.
And of course, there are more locations on the structure flooding project. I know
Right.
I've been following this for the past few months, so you guys probably have heard me come up here and talk about it before.
Right.
But this was just the next one that they were working on, the next major one at least.
So right now we're looking at a start date, hoping to find one soon.
We're hoping to find a start date soon. Like I said, they are anticipating to start this spring, so hopefully they can get it done before this next rainy season kicks off.
I hear you. All right. Thank you,
Of
Emma.
course,
We
Hannah.
appreciate it. We'll be following for those updates and keeping you in the know. Thank
All
you
right,
so
more
much.
at 6.
More at 6. There you go. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead now.